Hi there, and welcome to the Skylight Books author reading series. If you'd like to learn more about us and our many upcoming author events, please visit skylightbooks.com, where you can browse our inventory, buy books, and join our Friends with Benefits Club. You can also follow us on Twitter, Tumblr, and Facebook. To speak to a real live bookseller like me, please call 323-660-1175. Thanks for your support, and enjoy.
Yesika Salgado is a Los Angeles-based Salvadoran poet who writes about her family, her culture, her city, and her brown body. She has shared her work in venues and campuses throughout the country. In the last 4 years, she self-published 3 collections of poetry titled The Luna Poems, Woes, and Sentimental Boss Bitch. She is a member of the 2014, 2016, and 2017 De Poetry Lounge Slam team. Her work has been featured in Latina Magazine, Univision, Vibe Magazine, Huffington Post, BuzzFeed, TEDx, and many other digital platforms. Yesika is the co-founder of the Latina feminist collective Chingona Fire and an internationally recognized body positivity activist. Aziza Barnes is the winner of the 2015 Pamet River Prize. Their first full-length collection, I Be But I Ain't, is from Yes Yes Books in 2016. Their first chapbook, Me, Aunt Jemima, and the Nail Gun, was the inaugural winner of the Exploding Pinecone Prize from Button Poetry. They are a Cave Canem Fellow and co-host of the podcast, The Poetry Gods. Please put your hands together and give a warm Skylight welcome to Aziza Barnes and Yesika Salgado.
So this isn't going to work for if you're sitting like far in the back because it's only like a handful of us, and it's weird. So you're more than welcome to move forward.
Come closer, if you would.
We don't have cooties.
I might have cooties.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
You have a whole ass novel.
I have a whole ass novel, man.
How do you feel?
I don't know. It's kind of like I'm winded. Like, I'm like, what? And then it's like, it's in the world, you know, and it's just me talking about shit, you know, and it feels different than poetry for some reason. Like, there was something with like the first 2 books because they were poems that felt more like I had control, and maybe that's just because that's how I started, but for whatever reason, like, it being prose, it being a novel feels a little more like it's doing its thing.
Yeah, with poems, you could just be like, and scene. And
yeah.
then here comes the next thing.
And because I said so. And like, you know.
So we'll give you a couple of poems from me before we start, and then we'll give you the whole spotlight.
Thanks, man.
If you weren't expecting to hear poems from me, oh well.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Get ready.
And but before I read anything, I have known Aziza since they were a teenager.
Yeah.
And have had the honor of seeing them grow into this powerful, not only writer, but just person with a beautiful compass inside of you. Like, I just, you know, there's some people that just always just know the right things, kind of. Not say that you make mistakes or anything like that, but you just have this sense where I'm just like, well, whatever Caesar says, like, that's what we should all be doing. And so it's been such an honor to, like, just see you bring your novel, and I own your poetry book, and you're one of my favorite performers.
Thank you.
Have blown my mind multiple times, and I can't wait until I devour this book and then be like, yo, what the you know, so there's a couple of poems from me, and yeah, man. I was like, I'm going to read the room before I read something, and sometimes that doesn't work out for me because then I'm not prepared. The trick. Today I am not a writer. I am my halted Spanish and insecurities. I am fingers that know letters but not grammar. My only degree is my library card. I read someone else's works and words and shrink. Turn into a speck of envy. Don't know how not to weigh my work against theirs. Can't stop feeling like I am a cheap magician's trick. If I move too quickly, I'll give myself away. You'll learn I am only stacking these words together to pull myself out. I don't know how you got here. I wasn't trying to save you. All I've been doing is staying alive. Did I tell you about the time that I was dying? About my uterus that couldn't stop bleeding, the doctors blaming my fatness and me agreeing. Did I tell you about the times that I couldn't get dressed because I was more crime scene than anything about this bloody curse? The stains on couches, showers, underwear, bus seats, the black paste of my sex, my vulva, a wound that wouldn't heal. I almost lost myself ounce by ounce once. I ended up in an emergency room. The doctors couldn't understand how I let it go that long, how I didn't think anything was wrong. They found a growth hemorrhaging. I never saw it, but I imagine it looked like an urn, like the thing that holds my father's ashes, the last place I ever saw him. The doctors paraded in and out, reaching between my legs. Dozens of men pulling my lips apart, shaking their heads. I've been here before, I thought. On my back, on a bed, a man disappointed. My mother called relatives, told them that I was sick, referred to my vagina as down there, the beast that can't be named, the sin that must be whispered, a red river down my legs, a soiled gown, a dirty secret. I stopped dying then. It took a while. First came the blood transfusion, and then the clamps clawing open my cervix, me strapped to a bed screaming in pain, thinking of women who endure this, and it isn't to keep them alive, but instead to make them a little bit more dead. How lucky I was, my body more forgiving than I, asking why I was so afraid of her. Why didn't I trust us? Hadn't we buried my father a year before and made it out intact? Hadn't we put down our fists and given up the bruises? Hadn't death asked us over and over again if we were sure we wanted to stay? And hadn't we said yes every time, and didn't it try to take us anyway? Didn't we stay alive? Aren't we alive? My body said alive. Listen to me. Are you not alive? And I started renaming parts of myself, calling them what they needed to be called. My sex, my pussy, my jewel, my sweet fruit, my loved orchid, my come here lover. Come, celebrate that I am alive, that I once almost wasn't. Come, taste what staying is like. Thank you.
Yes.
And I chose that poem because I feel that survival is something that I've seen you do over and over, you know, and like just in surviving this world and also like reinventing yourself. And then this book is almost like a reinvention of like, well, we'll talk about more of that.
No, but I think you're right. Like and I think that's why it's also so emotional. It's can't help but be a bit of a reorganization. Mm-hmm. Yeah. More than a bit.
More than a bit.
More than a bit.
Yeah. So we're going to have you read from your book now.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited. Has anyone other than not a cult read any passages or anything yet? Will this be that you did? You got an exclusive? Yeah, but so we're all getting a special treat now. So yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, and thank you for blessing us with your words. It's an honor always.
Well, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here too.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So no better place than the beginning, I figure. Sorry if that's basic, but y'all the ones that came here. So the blind pig. What had happened was a glitch. Ancestral nerve ridden to the point of madness. What had happened? A deer and an armadillo kick it on a Mississippi porch, rain coming down. Glitch. There's a you, an I, another name entirely, too. There's saint, not who you pray to, but whose offerings allow you to survive. Glitch. When you're in your dad's apartment growing up. His mother sings La Boheme on the fire escape, no escape for her. Glitch. A comedy store, 2 a.m. peaking. An afro glistens under club lights, sweat of the father and his father and plantation, whole of them. Glitch. Sankofa, I guess, when I'm an I. Tough bird to hit with any number of stones. Glitch. English. A language crippled with the lazy poetry of idioms and no feeling. Glitch. No windows, casino-like. It's a mental hospital. You didn't lose your mind. You became it. Infinitely worse. Glitch. It was so hot there were dead roaches. I love you, and then it got roaches. You had a lot of last name going on, and I woke up bleeding through linens. A rack of ribs is the style I bleed out on linens with. A messy bitch when I feel ignored or like staying alive. 2 tumblers of champagne and tits out if I want. I wake up with dirt, caked, lined as in caulking between skin and nail. I can't stay awake without breaking my heart. I break into houses, change my name for an interval, see how the other half tastes. The first time I felt a chill on my face in months. The white man who lives in my head, not far from the white man who lives in a slave castle, would point from a balcony down to a black someone, and that day she would feel water on her body, smell like an ocean she couldn't see for his, for him, for a crippled arch, and rush to the end of the world. Took a swig of Jim Beam, and a choir of yielded crops sprung out my chest, where the blonde hairs grow, a dark omen from the nothing black about me comment section. I lose weight in my feet and watch videos of white children shooting deer for the first time. There's no such thing as a fixed location. The deer cocks her head at the child step toward him, loosens the thrill of her name, I believe you love me, until I'm sitting in a bar of fluorescent purple and I know you're thinking of someone you lived with before. I fuck you until you're somewhere she is a meter high. A man in Mississippi sees me when I'm walking in Bed-Stuy. I'm just a ghost, niggas, and he's more sure of my body than I am. Smoke socket, liquor bound. I am my grandfather's cursed extension. I am nothing if not my colonizer's bastard cum. I am nothing but. I am warm and riddled with life. Occasionally a deer will walk into my front porch. Occasionally albino lizards crawl into my home and die. I know this is my dad begging. A skeleton isn't hard to wait for. You just have to clear your schedule. It's tax season and flu season, and I don't say cotton. It's offensive, and the men sometimes have hands so big my throat lengthens, choke me out, and when I pick up air, someone will be left knocking the blonde field. The eye is unreliable. Has a birthright with an ugly clinical name, so let's skip it. You are intimidated by how much pain a body can hold. Your father sings you to sleep on the nights he doesn't play Ken Burns' Civil War tapes, the sounds of slaves bellowing Jacob's ladder, the recitation of Union and Confederate soldiers' letters home. Mosquito bites and ant colonies converge on your fingers under your bed. He's not a bad man. He's just a man, and that is sometimes hate enough. You tell him one day that he's not technically an African American because his lineage doesn't go to slave ships, doesn't hail from Ghana and the great Khan of the millennia, the first slim door of no return. Your father yells at you, says he's as black as you are, and even in the diatribe that follows from him, you know you're right and he's less right. He's hidden his iteration of blackness, otherness in your mother, whose people come from Ohio by way of Virginia, by way of a boat from part of West Africa that remains unsayable because that fascist regime kept poor or no records. When he sings you to sleep, it's a song asking rhetorically, what do you dream? The ants underneath your bed are from the time you ate a Granny Smith apple at night and didn't want to leave your room to go to the kitchen in the dark just to throw it away. You wake up to a line of black legs and antennae making hill and canyon of you, of your sister. Later in life, around the time you claim your father is another kind of black, you recognize the presence of insects in your home as a call to the end of days, terrestrially and of your mind, a signal to a certain inheritance, a collection of names to address your brain, now that every canal and neural pathway synapse has chemically gone awry. Your dad says it's come from your mother's side, the African American side. He doesn't specify. That's the first section that I'm reading. Now we're going to do the next section. So in this book, I think it behooves me to say, it's following a character who is going in and out of their mind, so it shifts from the first person to the second person until they become a whole other thing entirely. So that's what that's about. Curve my fingers around the fat in a glass jar, come up with shine dewy, and I am 8, asking what it is. The drops on a succulent at 7 a.m. It's dew, stupid. The fuck I know about water anyway, calling me stupid for. Los Angeles, and everyone pronounces it under the more white colonizer, Las Angeles, and I curb to the water that won't die. I do this. Rub into the rind on top of the bone this oil, and I see the scab from when I shouted, from my bike to his small car, excuse me, sir, to a man, and he did nothing but drive forward more and unmoved. And of course my bike hit the curb, and of course I went flying and forgot how it felt, the flight, if I enacted it, and of course I didn't enact it, and the man, black and in this town of whites who pray to a Confederate so-and-so, unnamed but buried well, said, I would have never forgiven myself if I really hurt you, and I apologized to the man, the black man, for my being so in the way of him, so easily a dear. In headlights, them fools lose their staring contest, and genetic makeup evolved them into doing real well, staring. Never run from the light, but stare into it as if they could bend the light back, like my hair pulled back and neck with it down, and with the lights the car, and with the lights the gas, and with the lights the gas, and with it the oil. I do this. Now my breasts, which piss me off for being there. I am 8, and my mama has a blue slip with this water crisis would convince poor blacks is water. Just wring it out and the drops will come. Call them dew and me stupid when the shit won't dry into memory, dry into something I can say ain't happened. Put this on. And the one instructing me as a girl is from up the street, is older but not by much, but by enough that she has a 17-year-old brother who is always in his room or throwing balls in the air and over my head like he can't see below certain bones. Put this on and I do this. Throw on a silk blue in a closet where there are nails jutting out from the wood. It's an old house, but a good house, and there's an excuse for the tetanus, an excuse for the infection, and none for me. Who gets dressed to get undressed in a closet anyway? And her mama blue slip no less, lest you must be the one for burning, wearing the hottest way to incinerate, dumb bitch, dumb bitch. And what could I know about all that? Laying on top of her saying, you're pretty, and my wife, come home, honey, or honey, I'm home, or come out, honey, I'm home, or honey, 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 you dumb bitch of honey, you honeycomb stupid, you dewy dumb bitch, say whatever you want, but I'm in your home, haha, I'm in your home, haha, and your mama don't know about me, haha. Come out, honey, I'm home and wearing a suit, haha. Don't you know your name, honey? It's honey, 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 honey. I'm home. Put this on and I'm in your home. And what, dumb honey, stupid comb bitch, you're come. I'm out and wife, welcome, hello, blue honey slip bitch, haha. You're due, don't honey a dumb bitch. And the bitch of it was, that was a good Tuesday after school. And I could be 8, but more likely I'm 23 when I do this. Rub into a pimpled chest the oil, coconut, which I'm told is good by those who are good, by those who are in the morning because they know when to wake up. Jimmy is a name for a white boy, and I am aware of white boys. Jimmy is a white boy who walks me home from school. Jimmy is a long nickname for James. James is the name of a white boy who is my grandfather. My grandfather moved into another apartment in the South Bronx when my grandma died and painted all the walls black. My grandfather is named James and never nicknamed into a longer name Jimmy, and he drank a 5th of Jim Beam every day and sat in the black apartment he painted without my grandma, who was black, but not like the wall, but like a rotting banana or a more just world. Jimmy is a name for white boys, and he walks me home. Jimmy is a name for white boys you don't think about having desire even though they discuss sex. Sex is a honey bitch blue slip. For me, I am considering wearing flagpole distant, but I am into my hips, okay? Into a gleam from them, so we ain't there yet, state status, country bound, and oath. Jimmy is a white boy who walks me home and says, I'm pretty, you're so pretty, with your beard and all. It was one of the first things I liked about you, that you weren't afraid to show the hair on your chin, that you just wore it out there. I liked that about you and that beard, and I like that. Jimmy sits on my porch. Jimmy says it's cold, can we go inside? Jimmy walks in my bed and takes off his shoes, and I know the smell of feet is a commitment, and the room is different. The room is a dewy bitch. The room is a honey wife. And why is Jimmy a white boy name my grandfather wouldn't give to himself if he laughed in a black room at my grandma's dead banana peel body in the dew of 7 a.m. and I'm 8, and you're pretty, and my wife, and welcome home, honey, or honey, I'm home, or come out, honey, I'm home, or honey, 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 you dumb bitch of honey, you honeycomb stupid, you dewy dumb bitch, say whatever you want, but I'm in your home, haha, I'm in your home, haha, and your mama don't know about me, haha, come out, honey, I'm home and wearing a suit, haha, don't you know your name is honey? It's honey, 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 I'm home, put this on, I'm in your home, and what, dumb honey, stupid comb bitch, you're home, I'm out, and wife, welcome, blue honey slip bitch, haha, your dude, don't honey a dumb bitch, but Jimmy, a white boy who walks me home in Mississippi in the snatch of magnolias walking out of the air to greet my neck, he isn't a bad man. He isn't a bad man like I'm a bad man. A bad one who flings sex like small rocks out of a sling into the air around my neck. Around my neck is the bullet hole in the Lyceum meant for James Meredith, another James, not Jimmy, another laughless government wrung out in dew. Jimmy kisses my cheek and my lips and the beak of my face. Jimmy crawls on top of me and begins to make a motion, to make a concession, to pump dryly onto my pants. Jimmy notices I've stopped breathing, become lax as honey, welcome home, honey, and calls me a bitch in so many words. The words, look, I'm going to be nice about all this, but that hurt me. That being my no. My no, out of my mouth, I swear, and still somehow smoke to him, inaudible. How can't he hear me? I'm still saying it. What if I'm not even here? What if I stop trying and I stop? The no out my mouth and never mind, I said, through my jaw was due and lax and only would appear in the morning. Never mind the thank God I didn't wait until morning with the Jimmy, not James, in my bed, wet and scrambling. This could work. Why won't you let it work? Why can't you enjoy me? A good thing. I'm a good man named Jimmy. You are a bitch I will be nice about. Welcome home, you honey. Let me fuck you. Let me fuck you. I said you were pretty. And surely I'm 8. And yo, we ain't been properly introduced. My name is the Precious One. My dad picked it out in 76. It's in the Bible and Ezra. I'm a minor character and I do this. Rub into my body the villain to water. it slides off me. Not even the dew can ride my back. I stand in the rain, and that's where I meet you. By now, the kneecaps are prize onions. The breasts are attractive in that dumpling manner. The stomach is simply greased and arrogant. The thighs, here we are at the hair. Oil natty in the hair. Insufferable, this ugly weight of brown catching dirt. And Jimmy didn't walk home after I asked him to leave. That's why I coat the thighs in oil. He came back, opened the door to my room and said, please don't be mad at me. I'd hate it if you were mad at me. And you're on the phone like I thought you would be. Mad at me. Please don't. Pretty honey wife, dumb suit, comb. Haha, don't be mad, slip. Don't be blue, mad. Don't be hate me, wife. We should talk about all this. I am dew and shine. I am kind and deer stare. I am the car bending into a blue slip of no more name. Can I have a ride home? I give to you a ride home. I give to you a consolation. I don't touch you and you say nothing, even though you told me you're being nice about all this. Who was I going to tell? The oil on my body? Thank you. And this is the last little section, and then we'll talk and stuff. And thank y'all for being here, truly. So this is the part of the book where the I, the first person, is just completely disintegrated. They can't keep it no more. So there's just two folks. And it's equally possible that this is the feeling most black femmes or women feel toward black men or masked folks, this insatiable connection, desperate need to be close, to protect, to guard them from the rest of the world, knowing the rest of the world is in the thick of hunting season, hunting exactly for them. When is it not war? And so the characters' names are Two and Saint, which is good to say that. When is it not war? Too worried if it was a perpetual war, one that would take every generation of humanity and even after that to upend. Would Two ever be able to ask of theyself not to make space for men? If it's war, they need shelter. How can you deny shelter to a soldier? But the soldier in question never recognizes their war, the other side of the trench, the other fighting in uniform. But even this silent physical shift in Saint was less jarring than a few nights back, around when Two's mind began to turn, when that white dude climbed into their bed, shoes off, feet making chaos of the air, and climbed further, all up on Two, wanting, hungry. Two's body fell to a hush prehistoric, the chill through them akin to a cold front, all warmth lost from their world. The white man still intent on getting what they thought was theirs, writhing and kissing on them, like the perpetual trauma response. Two in that moment began asking theyself the questions, did I ask for this? Do I want this? My body is gone somehow. I don't want to be inside of it anymore. Is it me or is it him? What is the contagion? Will he leave if I just let him have me? Will he stay in my house all night whether I give myself up or not? Is this his house now? Was it ever my house? Where do I live? How can I say it? How can I ask him to leave? We were hanging out. Was I flirting? Was the flirting suggesting a physical response? What has this been all this time? Getting fast food dinners, texting, watching a movie here and there. Was it all leading up to this moment? If so, then why can't I move? Why can't I breathe? Why do I feel like I'm being taken from me? How much farther am I going to let this go? Is it even up to me anymore? Is this like the power of attorney where someone sees I can't fend for myself so they take up that function on my behalf? If I say no now, will he hate me? Do I care if he hates me? Do I hate me? And that's how I got here. Is it like a vampire where if I invite him in my home, whatever happens to me is my fault? Did I want sex, but did I want it now? With this person in this place at this time? Am I nothing? Maybe I've always been nothing, and this is what happens to nothing. Nothing. This is nothing, right? This is a non-event. I'm sure this happens all the time. This isn't even a this. This is an event, like brushing my teeth. It will all be over soon, unless it won't. Unless it lasts all night and in the morning. When will he want to eat with me after? When is after? Get off of me. Get off of me. Get off. And he did, confused, staring at Two, embarrassed, pink with lust and pink with anger. Two had replayed that night on repeat in their mind since it happened. Began developing a ritual to repurpose their body, make it feel again. And of course the white man did hate them, or decided Two would make misery of their miserable choices, and soon got as far away from Two as a human could be, and fine. Two decided it wasn't groundbreaking, men taking and non-men not knowing how to extricate themselves. It wasn't groundbreaking, wasn't interesting, wasn't new, so Two decided it could be forgotten. But Two's body couldn't forget. It would shake within itself, it would cramp and clot. Any motivation left the moment Two required required movement. Any desire for who two actually wanted to touch and be touched by retired, vacating the system. Two was numb, and in this walking paralysis created a shift not unlike Saint's. Two's blonde hairs on their stomach harvested into a pelt of stark white, their moles, black and brown, becoming freckles and everywhere, large as their ears. Their hands, hooves now. Their feet, hooves now. Their ears outward and outward, small tents pitched on either side of their head. Their nose, a hue, black button and tender. Eyes already so brown they were black, something Two heard most days in elementary school, around the time Kenny suggested Two wanted to be a slave, because they cried during the educational video about a slave girl that learned to write her name in the dirt with a stick. It didn't take much for Two to become a deer in their own bed. They wondered if they practiced now on the porch with Saint, if Saint would mind, would freak out and bolt, would notice at all, because what if this is entirely in their head? An armadillo and a deer shared a blunt on the porch, littered with cigarette butts, beer cans, magnolias. In their states as animals, they could shake their histories as humans. The mental hospitals, the beaches in Ghana, the white men in their beds, the football coaches' callous directions, the 40 acres, their black, the ships it incepted from, their loneliness, a trait honed by humanity and reviled. As animals, they could be instinct and survival. The notion to thrive was eradicated. There was a sense of being, of sitting inside oneself and enjoying the residence. Two knew they couldn't maintain this form forever, that in another glitch they would return back into the bodies they were birthed as. But for as long as they could stand it, could they be these figments, these creatures Two saw on a daily basis curling up and rolling across the highway, standing in headlights like a fool to their doom. Two already felt as though they had been headlights stared down and lost. Saint had what most armadillos have, a defense mechanism that doesn't suit the 21st century world we reside in. When an armadillo is confronted by a predator, before they roll up and away, they leap, approximately 4 feet into the air. Why? Who the fuck knows? But adapting to the current world has proved a farce, given that cars are about that high off the ground, leaving the armadillo to get hit with such accuracy that so many of them are dead before they have the chance to live. To be a black man and to be an armadillo, then, were not so different. To be a black femme and a deer, mutual experience. Thank you.
Well, you know what I was thinking a lot was as you were reading, was your play with repetition.
Yeah.
And like, tell me, because I can assume what it is, but I'd rather hear it from you.
Sure.
Like, when you use repetition, especially in a book that is about someone losing their sense of self, right? Or their mind, or whatever it is that, like, what was the repetition? Like, what was the purpose of the tool for you every time you use it? Did it change as you used it throughout the book?
Yeah, so for me, repetition was, in the process of like losing your sense of reality as it is, there's a term, right, rumination, like when a person is ruminating. And there was a period where, like, in my own life, right, there would be weeks where I would say like the same five sentences over and over, and like I couldn't get off a topic or like fixate, and you say the same 5 to 10 sentences over and over, and it's like there's no breaking it. And so I wanted to explore that. Now that I have, some control, explore what that is literarily, and explore like these characters who keep hitting the same event from all these different perspectives, and it's all from them. But it's like when I'm an I experiencing it, oh, that's too close, so that's too much. That's too. Oh, when I'm you, when I have more distance, it's still too. Oh, when I'm something else completely. And so I wanted that kind of replay effect, because I think that's very much embodying that experience.
I think it's beautiful. And I mean, as someone who has my like idea with anxiety and all that, like repetition becomes a part of it, right? Like your fixation on certain things. So as you were reading, and like I was almost like falling into like I was hypnotized by what the speaker was like going over, and I could see that unraveling happen. But it was I think that some of the most beautiful writers make in quote unquote insane things seem perfectly sane, perfectly tangible. And that moves into the next question of the book has magical realism in it, right? And when you hear magical realism, you think of Gabriel Garcia, of Isabel Allende, of like women with green hair and like mermaid features, and so you think that that's what that looks like, but you write it in such a way where it's just a fact.
Thank you.
Like, it's not it's not a whimsical thing. And I
Yeah.
think that people think of that. Well, realism comes afterwards, but even then, how we're used to seeing magical realism be used as a tool in writing you're doing it in a very different way, where it's just a fact, where you're not asking my imagination to do anything out of what the book has already taken it to.
Thank you.
And so what has your experience been with that? And
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, so I feel like the common notion of magical realism is like, oh, it's so sexy, and it's so, and they're fairies flying out of the walls and whatever.
Yeah.
But for me, it, especially with given the context of it being so much about mental health, is like, what is it to see what isn't there? And what is there, who am I ultimately to say that it was or wasn't there? And I love the kind of more filmically, a lot of filmmakers I think employ magical realism that is so pedestrian even. And I've always been in love with that. Just you open a door and someone who's dead is just in the closet or something like that. Yeah. And I do think that there is so much power in just making it and this is just a fact of my life, you know. I think the same sort of thing happens with grief, where someone passes away, a loved one passes away, but you see them places, or you see something that signifies them to you, and that just becomes, as much a part of your day as getting a cup of coffee. Right. It is that. And I wonder about that, and I do feel especially in what happens with this and these characters transforming into animals, I think magical realism is rooted in a deep desire, right? That's the real place where it comes from, is you want to see that dead relative of yours, or you need to confront whatever person's in the closet. You see the butterfly that turns into, because there's something in you that needs to evolve, right? And so, yeah, that's what it is for me very much, is I do think that these kind of fantastical things can feel so mundane. And when they do, it's just part of the fabric of whatever your life is.
Yeah, and especially, as given your cultural background, all of us, right? There's the story of the stuff that is fairy tales that become part of what your life is, and sometimes you even lose track of what's in between.
Yeah.
Did you grow up with stories like that with your family of
oh yeah,
and one relative that saw the one thing, and so then that's a true thing,
For sure. I mean, my dad I was just talking to my dad this week, and he was like, well, your grandmother used to have prophetic dreams, and she would dream things that would then come into existence. I'm like, no, Dad, I didn't know that. You've never told me that in my life. And he was like, well, your aunt had a prophetic dream last night, and that's why I'm telling you this. I'm like, okay, great. That's in the zeitgeist. Cool. It's there's all that witchy shit. And I think, especially being people of color, and the nightmare too, right? So many, the fact that slavery is a thing that happened, that people were like, oh yeah, let's go pick the people up and put them on a boat and take them somewhere else where they don't know the language and they're not evolved to the climate, and we'll just take their children from them and never let them get married, and they'll live in a shack with a dirt floor, and that's life now. That's magical realism in the sense of what in the fuck?
Wow.
Who invented that reality? And now we're all gonna act like it's normal,
right?
And whatever, And so I feel we come from the joy of it, but we come from the wound of it,
right.
The supreme wound of the fact that there were people in our bloodlines that woke up one day and got snatched by people they never saw before, and then had to go live an entirely different life. It's when you have a day that you're like, well, that turned out different than I thought. It's well, now the rest of my lineage is turning out different than I thought. You know?
It's just because you got caught too far from the village or something. And then,
what on earth? So I feel rooted in us is all of, and then the invention, right? Now I'm here in this insane situation, so I'm gonna invent these songs, I'm gonna invent these griots, I'm gonna still invent this food, I'm gonna the more magic, right? The quilts, the running, the stars, the stars now mean something. We have to make the beauty from when there was nothing.
Yeah, because I especially for the Black community to have someone uproot you and then tell you that everything that existed before is just your imagination.
Crazy.
Right? And then like now you have to worship their gods and
Yeah.
their weird shit, because this man died and came back in 3 days. That's perfectly normal. But whatever like you were doing back in your country wasn't. And so it's really, when you give it that culture, like that historical memory, it becomes even more like potent. And then you also, in the last passage that you read, because I'm going to hear that where you were talking about men and shit, or masculine folks and shit, but about the whole like that whole passage really like caught me, because you're like, was I nothing? Is this nothing? Like if I, like the vampire thing, like if I invited this person in and this is happening now, was it my fault? And I know it's so hard to write around that kind of trauma, but you did it in such a way that just felt, I think what many of us, even if we haven't experienced the assault, we've had that moment, right? Like if this goes left, was it my fault?
Oh yeah.
And like as you were capturing that, and I know it's already towards the end, and where two stops like associating with themselves, right? How were you able to capture that and still keep your wits around you? Because I think that's the hardest thing to do, right?
It's an excellent question. Oh, my wits. Oh, I don't know.
Wits about you.
I don't know. I mean, like, yay for therapy. You're right. Like, see that nigga every week, like that's helped. And like, I think it honestly just felt like writing out kind of the ritual of that. The ritual of like, am I bugging? Essentially, is how I like categorize it. And it's like, yes, I mean, you are, but you're not wrong, And there was something, not like a relief to say it, but there was something very calming about just like saying every single thought that could go through one's mind when they feel like someone is trying to take them from them, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't get to be the boogeyman anymore. It's like, nah, brass tacks. Like, whose fault is this? Is fault anything to do with it? Like, what is in the communication? Do words fail everyone? Like, what is it about this dynamic that leaves me powerless every time? Right. And so then I think like I'm so interested in this book, especially in like the power in holding your eye and in holding like, nah, like for real, like things happen. There is an objective truth or whatever. But then in flipping it, like, is there, and is it okay if it's many perspectives? Like, where does your power live? Does it live in like this statement, this me, this I, or can it live like variously? Can it live in all these different pockets? Are you still powerful if there's other perspectives? And can you get yourself back to yourself, I think is the biggest question. And so writing that was like, I mean, an honest head fuck, like it is, and it still is, and reading it is, but like there is something powerful in saying like, these are the questions I now have to ask myself because of this power imbalance. And that maybe is the objective truth, right?
Yeah.
And why should I have to ask this?
You said, can you get yourself back to yourself, right?
Yeah.
And you grew up in LA and you left for a while, right?
Yeah.
You were out there in the world. And then you moved back to LA, but I feel like from what I've experienced through our friendship, that you've come back as a different person. And even also like you're not in your parents' home anymore. Like now you're like a grown-ass person, right? But has all of that affected, like how has all of that fallen into like your own mental health in the actual book itself? Because you had your personal things that you endured with like while you were gone and then also while you were here. So what is your journey play in the journey of the characters in the book?
Sure. I mean, like I had been working on this book for like about 3 years, maybe more. And there was a point in time where like I had to like set it down and you know, get well, like quite honestly, you know, it's that funny thing about I have a pet peeve about sometimes when writers are like, and the writing saved me, and I'm like, nah, like that's cool, and it's cool that you have that, but like sometimes there's other ways of being saved, you know, and the writing wasn't gonna do it. It just wasn't gonna cut it, because it got to the point where it was like so much noise. You know, and then it's also like, who you doing it for?
Well, people always think that writing is this noble thing, right?
Yeah.
That we're doing it in this higher thing. I'm like, no, bitch, I'm just trying to like get through like these 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's not gonna happen.
Yeah. And that was the scary, I think, in all, like, in terms of my life as it runs according to this book, right? It's like, it hit the point where it was like, yeah, I can't. I have nothing to say. I can barely exist here, you know, and I don't want to anymore. Like, quite frankly, I don't want to be here anymore. And it's hard because I do think that writing and creating is the only shit I'm into, you know. Yeah. And so when that won't even pull you back, like, then what the fuck is good, you know? And so, like, it was very humbling to just be like, all right, I'm going to go to this, you know, like, treatment facility. I'm going to go sit the fuck down. I'm going to just be with me. And I think the difference is, for so long, I thought like, well, writing is me, you know, I write, therefore I am. And like, you know, I'm nothing without the shit I'm saying, and saying it to many, many people. And this time it was like, who are you when you ain't doing shit? Who are you when you ain't your work? And I think that was like the biggest interrogation. And then it opened up, like I got well, you know, and it opened up that I could finish this book because I had like distance, not only from like being ill, you know, with an inherited illness, like bipolar is an inherited illness down the fucking line, you know. And being able to say that out loud right now is like a wild, humbling thing, you know. But it's like kind of cool, like it's just a fact. And not only having distance from like being able to say my diagnosis and being able to say like that it's inherited, but also having distance from the person that needed so much external validation, that needed so much likes and clicks and praise, and needed like, read my thing now, read my thing, everyone, you know. And like, it's not bad to want that, and it's totally dope to want to be validated and appreciated and celebrated. But I think for me it was like, if I don't have that, then I'm nothing. Right. And that's a problem, right?
That's a scary thing to go home. And I'm also bipolar. Yeah. And so the manic moments of being very public and being in front of everybody, and then having to go back to your room by yourself, and it's this almost like this breathing thing in the room with you. Yeah. Where you're like, oh fuck, now I got to deal with this
and whatever this is today.
Because it shows up. Sometimes you can put it in your pocket, other times it's like a big beast following you everywhere. But I think that's beautiful. But the exciting parts of the book, right? It's the matter is so important and so beautiful. But I said that you played with like format a lot. And so like how was that creative process for you? Were you like in there like I'm doing some like, you know, when you're feeling yourself and you're like, this is dope?
Oh, for sure. I mean, like the fun part is like once this was published, I started flipping through it at the crib, and like I was like, I like this shit. You know, like it's a nice feeling where you're like, oh, I'm feeling my shit. But you know, like especially in terms of formatting, I always think about Douglas Kearney and like his books and his work, and like, you know, I can't say that I'm like working at the level that he's at, because it's just like it's so much play and so much like Adobe formatting that I don't want to deal with. But like I also really love, like, you know, I'm a playwright, and a lot of the book is also like in dialogue, and a lot of the dialogue is between the character you before you becomes two, you know. And it's like this person interrogating the figments in their mind or the people around them. Like it's really kind of choose your own adventure if you want to believe that they're there or not there. And I really love working in script format, because I feel like the pedestrian shit people say when they're not even thinking is some of the most beautiful, poetic, haunting thing, you know, like people really be telling on themselves when they talk to you, and it just things will fall out their mouth, and it's like, I heard that, like I'm alright, like it's down now, and I remember certain conversations, and like we'll riff on them when it's like I love how when I was little I would always say like, I'm just saying, and my dad would say, don't say that. What? Don't say just saying. Like, you say that like it's not going to mean anything. And it's like, okay, well, now that matters, And so I love writing out just like people chopping it up with each other. Yeah. Because it's just, even as you're writing, it feels so like, like a relief. Like, I know I'm going to go on a journey, and I know I'm going to get somewhere. So that's, and I also really wanted like the feeling of this in this book, But yeah, and I love just like, I love playing with the page, and I love when things feel like little treasures or little like fortune cookies and shit. So there's some pages that feel like that.
Oh, that's special.
Yeah, it feels special, and I really wanted to, like, for this book that is so much about mental health and like finding self, losing self, all that, for it to feel kind of like a talisman, like that, in going through like getting your mind right. On the real, you just feel so fucking ugly. Like, you feel so grody. Like, I'm not cute no more. Like, I wanted for, if people are going through it, it's like, no, here's a cute thing for you. Like, it's shiny, like it's matte.
It's
beautiful,
like, catches the light differently,
you know what I'm
no
saying?
matter where you're in the room.
I think it's like, it could be fresh, right? Yeah. Like, for when you're feeling out of sorts, to have like a little trinket,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How are we on time?
It's an excellent question.
Yeah.
Maybe like 5 to 10 more minutes.
Okay, and then are we opening it up to this, or are we calling it a wrap? I don't know. Do y'all have any questions? I can ask a bunch of questions, but I would rather somebody else, if they had anything that they're going to go home with. No? Yes. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. So I feel like for me, it's like an inciting trauma, and it's like the first like very traumatic moment I can remember, and the book goes into like molestation and all that stuff, and like, yeah, for me it felt very much like the age of like, I'm kind of hip to what's good, like I'm kind of hip to what people around me are doing, and that it's not all family, it's not all joyful, it's not all good intended, that there could be other motives, that there could be other narratives. And I think, yeah, that's mostly why that comes up a lot. Yeah, thanks for asking.
Anyone else? Yes, over here.
The language is so cutting and contemporary, and you do such a great job with it. And
thank you.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you kind of had like a kind of filter when you're going through this, kind of a yes/no you were working with, and some maybe models that you were looking towards.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I was reading a lot of Alexis Pauline Gumbs, M-Archive author. So she's freaking dope, and I think her book is in here, or you can order it. But that's like such a thing worth all of her shit is so worth reading. And like she'll write like these usually very thick paragraphs in just the voice of like an archivist at the end of the world, a Black woman archivist at the end of the world. And like I was reading a lot of that. I was reading a lot of like Maggie Nelson, like the Argonauts, and rereading a lot of White Girls by Hilton Als, right? And just kind of like, and I read Plot by Claudia Rankine, and that was like a huge influence, especially in terms of formatting and like play. And I wanted the register to feel very much like kind of like a homegirl, like I'm just out here. But then I like when there are some parts of the book that play with elevated registers, And I think the registers differ because I'm interested in power. And like when I talk like this, do I have a certain leverage? When I talk like this, do I lose a certain leverage? Because I think in the world that happens. And I notice a lot that like, well, if I talk like how I talk with my mom, when I talk to like this person I work for, it might not go so high. You know, I might lose a certain currency. And I think especially when you're dealing with like a person who is agitated and not well, they talk a certain way in that repetitive way. And then it's like, oh, now you have to go over here. Like the distance gets bigger depending on how you speak. So I was interested in that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So to wrap up, I think of my books as my kids, right?
Yeah.
And so this is your baby, your
Yeah.
new baby. What is your wish for your new child in the world? Like, what is your wish for them?
This is an excellent question. Yeah, I want weird little black queerdos like myself to put this in their very large jacket pocket and read it in the park. And I want them to feel like I could do whatever I want and I could fuck it up. And I want them to just feel that stretch.
That's beautiful. And that is such a good note to end on.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And I can't wait to read how you fuck it up.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank
and Aziza has books in the store. So if you buy a copy of the book, I'm pretty sure they will be more than happy to sign it for you.
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Nautical and Skylight.
Yes, thank you, Nautical and Skylight.
Hi there, and welcome to the Skylight Books author reading series. If you'd like to learn more about us and our many upcoming author events, please visit skylightbooks.com, where you can browse our inventory, buy books, and join our Friends with Benefits Club. You can also follow us on Twitter, Tumblr, and Facebook. To speak to a real live bookseller like me, please call 323-660-1175. Thanks for your support, and enjoy.